I'm joined by Emily Maitlis, co-host of Global's podcast, The News Agents, to talk, Emily, about this interview that the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, has given to Vanity Fair. It's been a bit of a slow burn over the last 24 hours, this, hasn't it?
It's been incredible. It's been a real bombshell because she is the president's chief of staff and she is a woman who he really values at his side.
And she's deemed to be the sensible head in the group, isn't she?
She's cool-headed. Yeah. She's calm. She brought him back sort of metaphorically from the dead. She backed him when he was in the wilderness years. Nobody ever thought he'd be president again. And she basically said, you have my loyalty. I will help you back on track. This is how we're going to fight it. And so he credits her a little bit with his sort of, Lazarus-like kind of rising from comeback. And he actually, part of the copy said he actually calls her Susie Trump. In other words, the greatest accolade you could get is something that has you can have my surname. So he really values this woman at his side. And she's sort of a middle-aged woman. She's not a sort of MAGA looking woman. She's sort of got this sort of quiet bouffant hair, but she's a very different type from, say, Caroline Levitt, his press secretary. And yet she's given this explosive set of interviews. We should explain that Vanity Fair has just published it now, or published it online now. It's coming out in January. But she's been giving these interviews to the journalist Chris Whipple for nearly a year. It's been a series of 11 interviews. So it wasn't like she gave one interview that she had a slip of the tongue and sort of, said too much. She's clearly gone out to be quite candid. She's talked about Elon Musk's ketamine habit. And when she was asked about that, she said, well, I'm just telling you stuff that Musk himself has told everyone, has told me. She's talked about Trump having a slightly alcoholic personality. He doesn't drink. Famously, he's teetotal, but she compared him to her father, I think, and said, there's something of the alcoholic in Trump's personality. She has been very candid about the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, over the Epstein files and said, what was she doing, bringing out these files that had nothing in them, that just got everyone mad. And she called J.D. Vance, the vice president, a 10-year-long conspiracy theorist. So somewhere along the lines, she has said more than many people around her bargained for. And what we've all been trying to work out is whether there was method in the madness. Was she trying to send the president a message? Was she just candid because she thought somebody had to be candid? Or is she trying to sort of keep him on track in what will be a midterm election year and say, this is what you're doing right and this is what you're doing wrong. Pay attention. We just don't know. But he can't afford to lose her. So he's basically backed her, even though there's some pretty astonishing revelations in what she said here.
He's the past master at taking the sting, not always, but taking the sting out of things that have been said about him or by him. Yeah. The alcoholic personality thing, you get the feeling he'll be able to...
He'll pass that off, and he doesn't drink, so it's clearly not meant in a sort of literal or physical way. Yeah. But some of the other stuff she said, I think, does go to the core, which is she talked about his sort of vindictive policy making, when he's gone after enemies. And she said, we've tried to curb that. We tried to keep it to a sort of 90-day period. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, really? So you recognise that when he's gone after his enemies, maybe
she's made a judgment that just says, people have eyes and ears. I can't deny reality.
Yeah. Yes, maybe. But I think, talking to the eyes and ears, what has now set social media alight in the last sort of 24 hours is the photos that have accompanied this piece. And they are photographs taken by, again, a political photographer. His name is Christopher Anderson. And the reason they've been so shocking is because he has done absolutely candid close-ups. And they are very close up and they are incredibly unflattering in some places.
Is this why I keep seeing photographs of Caroline Levitt's lips?
Caroline Levitt's lips, including what they call injection marks around the edge. Yeah. Now, on the one hand, you kind of think, well, what are we doing gossiping about a close-up of a woman's lips on social media? That's, back to your earlier misogyny conversation. Do we really want to get into that kind of conversation? I think... When he was asked about it by the Washington Post, he said, look, this is what I do. I strip back politics. I strip back the sort of the performance and the artifice, and I show it for what it's really like. And I guess the reason that this is particularly jarring is because there is a kind of MAGA look. And I probably don't have to explain that to your listeners, right? We know what we mean, that the women around Trump are groomed, they're sort of
pneumatic.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it owes a bit to Barbie. They are sort of, they are sort of, you know,
Barbie-esque
visions of female, sort of, in his eyes, visions of female perfection. And suddenly this is all stripped away. You know, the makeup's gone, the close-up's there. These photos are in your face. Now, I don't know about the ethics of that. Personally, I think he's argued this is just what I do, this is what, you know, political photography looks like, but he's gone very close in a way that is, I think, intentionally quite unnerving and quite unflattering. And when he did it to Susie Wiles, apparently, he says in the piece, she told me I was too close, told me to back off. And so you have to ask whether there is something at play here. Was Vanity Fair trying to trip people up? I don't know.
Is it conceivable? I may now be going into the J.D. Vance camp of conspiracy theories, but is it conceivable that Trump said to Susie Wiles, go and do your worst, to put the others on notice?
To put the others around him on notice? I think he likes them, though. I mean, he likes Rubio, he likes Caroline Leavitt, and I mean, the question that we're asking is, like, so much of the court of Trump is about appearance. You know, it's about don't let the cracks show, make sure you've got your blow dry, you blow up, you know, paint everything gold, get your makeup done. Yeah. And I wonder whether Trump is looking at these photos and thinking, oh, yikes, you know, are these the people that work for me?
We look a bit rough.
We all look a bit rough now. Is that actually going to change? Because in Trump's world, appearance is money. You know, it's an economic currency. Is he starting to think, oh, I'm not sure I like that very much, and are they going to be out of a job?
And in the way, I was asking you earlier, in the way that the MAGA push on the Epstein files was an uncomfortable experience for him. Is that worse than this? Is it tougher than this? Is this shades of that, do you think?
Epstein is much tougher
bigger
for Trump. And we are in a 24-hour period. I mean, the time runs out. It will be 30 days since he signed into law the publication of the Epstein files. We haven't seen anything. Tomorrow is meant to be the day that they drop. I mean, don't hold your breath, because
oh, yeah, it's Friday, isn't it?
It's Friday, and there may be more delays, but that is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for 96,000 individual pieces of evidence that could point up some really hairy, knotty questions for not just Trump, but for, you know, Democrats alike, Republicans alike, senior political figures, not just in America, but around the world, incredibly powerful men. To have to face.
Is it possible? I read that there's audio of the Vanity Fair thing, not available and not being published, but the fact that it exists is a threat enough, isn't it?
So Chris Whipple recorded everything he did with Susie Wiles, and as I say, it was a course of, I think, 11 interviews, you know, sort of over the months. And he has got those tapes, and Vanity Fair has confirmed those tapes exist. They've said they're not releasing them. But I think this is what you kind of keep up your sleeve. So if people say, I never said that, or I never said that, you go, well, actually, I have got you on record. I've got you saying that. And when you look at the sort of response from the Trump administration, what they've said is, oh, it was pulled out of context, or she didn't mean that. They haven't actually
bothered to do that.
Well, they haven't corrected any one specific thing that she said. Yeah. They've just said, oh, lacked context. So I think it's all a little bit sort of grey.
And is it possible, I mean, I've never done this myself when I've been planning a job move, but is it possible she started to just rattle their cage a bit because she's on manoeuvres elsewhere?
Do you know what? I wondered that myself. I mean, genuinely, the first bit of advice I was ever given when I was covering Trump was, don't overthink what's just happened. Don't assume there is method. There probably isn't, you know. That's certainly with Trump himself. I think things happen and everyone looks for extraordinary explanations, and quite often there isn't any. I think with Susie Wiles, you grant her a real sort of, you know, sophistication in terms of how she thinks. She's a strategist, she's a planner, woman, she's a smart woman. I don't know if she's on her way out, she's trying to warn him, or she just got lulled by a journalist who thought he was writing a book about her and then turned it into a piece a bit earlier. I mean, that sometimes happens. You think you're giving a long-form interview that won't be in print for another 3 years, and wow, suddenly it's there in print in Vanity Fair.
Can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
Online already in newsagents from January.
For 2 months.
Thanks very much indeed.